It's not often I do a video like this where I speak so openly about something that's quite personal to me. Now, everyone in the world suffers with mental health issues in some way or form. But I'm going to be speaking about my own experience and my recent experience with mental health problems. So, a month ago now, which feels so long ago, I tried to take my own life. And it's quite bold and brave of me to say it, but yeah, I did. And it built up in a way that I could not handle my emotions anymore. I couldn't really think straight, I couldn't think properly. And it was a combination of a lot of factors. Things going on in my personal life, worrying about the future, what my purpose in life is, and just just like I said, a combination of a lot of factors, and me just worrying in general, because I am someone who gets anxious and worried about things, and I am someone who is a bit of a perfectionist, which you can interpret as a positive or a flaw. But yeah, it built up quite a lot, and I am someone who suppresses his own emotions. Like, I try to deal with it on my own, when in reality, well, I'm going to say this now, you shouldn't suppress your own emotions for anyone. You should be able to feel like you could be open about your emotions. And the problem I've had in recent years on my mental health is me not opening up about how I'm feeling. Now, that is something I'm trying to improve on and I'm trying to get better at. I didn't know how I was going to take my own life. I wasn't really thinking properly, but I was planning to. And it was when I was live on Instagram, I was just distressed, anxious, having those thoughts. It was such a traumatic time for not only me, but for my family and friends. Because I basically turned my phone off and didn't answer to anyone. I was just sat in the middle of that field crying and crying and crying. And it was such a awful time for me. And it was then I said, after the aftermath of that I said I needed help to combat this, that I wanted to overcome what I was feeling and what I was getting, and I wanted to overcome those thoughts. And the thing is, suicide is the biggest killer in men as well, especially young men. And in society today, we feel that we still can't be open about our emotions, when that should change. Like, workplaces, colleges, schools should be doing more to help people with mental health, and I think all staff should have mental health training. Because there's a lot of kids out there as well that are, I don't know whether they're going through exam stress or just anxious, depressed in general. And I think there's a lot, I'm not going to name schools here, but there is a lot of schools who can't really adequately support those pupils, and I'll mention colleges as well, because they don't have the training, they don't have the resources. And that's the thing I'm trying to get at here. From my own experience, I did have some great support in college as well as school in some way. And the problem and the aftermath of that night, which is a month ago, I would never been so close to taking my own life, really. I never got to that stage where I was actually going to do it, and I almost was going to do it. But yeah, I'm starting to feel okay within myself. I'm not completely there yet, but I will get there. And I think when you're suffering with mental health issues, it's about finding ways to occupy yourself and distracting yourself with things you love doing. The problem I had as well is it built up. I'd been feeling like this for since I'd left college, basically, it was like, oh no, it's like routine, the structure is over. Like, I've actually got to be an adult and I've got to find my place and serenity in this world. So it was a scary, quite challenging time, as I'm sure it is for a lot of young people out there like me. And yeah, suicide is quite a big killer in today's society. And there is a lot of scumbags out there who basically mock people who have mental health issues, and they're the scumbags we need to eradicate. They're the ones who need educating, basically, is what I'm trying to say. And when I left college, I first thought, freedom. But when I deeped it, actually, it was like, no, what am I going to do? What am I going to do with myself? And I didn't tell anyone, which was the bad thing. I did not tell anyone about what I was going through and what I was feeling. And this is not just a recent issue. It's been an issue throughout my life that I don't tell people. And I'm admitting all this now. I don't tell people about how I'm feeling. I'm a very private, reserved guy. I'm not really open with a lot of things, and I find it very hard to trust people. Because, people can just stab you in the back, can't they? Anyways, on to that story. Basically, I'm just going to tell the full story, no sugarcoating it. When that night happened, I was basically found on the field by my aunt, shout out to her, and got home and everyone was looking for me, I didn't expect to have this amount of support and, people actually looking out for me. And from that, I realised who was actually there for me. I really did. And there is that noise in the background. But yeah, I think I've not really evolved, but just sort of realised a lot of things from this, that life is worth living and that I do have support around me, that I can be open about how I'm feeling. And I'm going to say the same to you lot now. If I know it's hard to be open about how you're feeling, I can relate to that on a personal level. But what I'm saying is, if there is someone you can trust, please talk to them. Because you never know. There's always a listening ear out there who'll be willing to listen to your problems. And the huge contrast in mental health and physical health is, physical health, you can see it. It can be treated, but mental health, you can't see it. So I think that needs to change massively. We need to support people more in terms of their mental health, and we need to put strategies in to make sure that people don't ever, get to that stage. And I'm talking about organisations, schools, colleges. I think a lot more can be done to support people with mental health. And that is something that needs to change, because too long there's people who've been suffering but have not got the help they've needed. Now, after the aftermath of that night, I spoke to a GP on the phone about what happened. I spoke to a charity called Mine, which I'm gonna put a number for down below if you ever need to speak to them, and also spoke to the crisis team. There we go. So I also spoke to the crisis team, and they're all quite good in terms of being understanding. I just explained everything. But I think now I'm starting to feel positive, in a way. I've been going to the gym, which has been massively beneficial to my mental health. I've been going 3 times a week, which has helped massively. I'd say it's probably done more than any counselling for me, but everyone has different coping mechanisms, everyone has different ways of combating how they're feeling. But now what I'm going to do with this video is I'm going to put a number or link to loads of mental health charities that you can speak to and all that sort of thing. Yeah, when I got home from that, it's sort of like a family gathering really. I just admitted I needed help. It was straight up. It was just a brave step, and I'll say this now to anyone who's suffering out there: admitting you need help is a brave step. It's not weak. It doesn't make you weak. It makes you strong. And crying is okay. You know, you're not. Don't let people who think it's weak to be open about your emotions call you weak, because you're strong if you express your emotions. That means you're real, you know. And one of the last things I do want to touch upon is mental health is something that should be spoken more about. Obviously it is now, but I still feel that there is more that can be done, like I've been saying throughout this video. Yeah, and that's all I've got to say really. I hope you can listen to about 12 minutes of this if you can, because it's just me telling my story and me waffling really. But yeah, alright, anyways.